Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. I hope you're all feeling fabulous, because tonight we're slipping behind the velvet curtain of a moment that has fans buzzing, hearts racing, and yes, leaving one of our protagonists absolutely stunned. Consider this your front row seat to an emotional storm. And while we're at it, if you're new to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, hit subscribe and tap that bell so you never miss a single pulse of our juicy deep dives into the stories you live for. Because this one? This one is pure electricity. At the center of it all stand Barış Arduç and Elçin Sengu, the golden duo whose on-screen magnetism never fails to spark. Their chemistry, still whispered about from one set to the next, finds a new canvas in a narrative that inches toward a breaking point, the kind that feels inevitable and yet still takes your breath away. In their hands, the world of Slater Kalu and Alil Ibrahim becomes an arena of glances that cut, words that linger, and the kind of silence that screams. And right there, as our title hinted, a single move, a single word, a single look turns Alil Ibrahim, the stoic, the unshakable, into a statue of disbelief. Picture it. The air dense enough to taste. Maybe a room where memories hang like fog. Maybe a courtyard where the wind itself seems to hold its breath. Shadows lengthen. Footsteps slow. A latent conflict crackles in the background like distant thunder. And Esla, yes, Esla, steps forward with that signature intensity, that unmistakable spark in her eyes. She does something no one saw coming. Something so daring, so raw, so devastating that Alil Ibrahim, known for his steely composure and indomitable calm, is left breathless, mute, staring as if the world just tipped on its axis. That split second of shock is the treasure you replay in your mind long after the credits roll. Our mission tonight is to rebuild that tension from the ground up, to slip into their world and feel the weight that leads to this detonation. Because make no mistake, moments like these are never random. They are the crescendo of pain, longing, hope, and fear that has been simmering for ages. Slice Road to Lil Ibrahim has never been a soft stroll. It's a path cut by sharp edges, misunderstandings that leave fractures in their wake, betrayals like phantom wounds, doubts that gnaw at the soul. There's history in every glance. There are unspoken resentments that cling like thorns. And beneath it all, against reason itself, there is a fierce, stubborn affection that refuses to vanish. This is the soil from which the shock blossoms, a buildup that finally bursts, a boil that can no longer be contained. Let's speculate, because that's half the thrill. Perhaps it's a confession from SL so disarming that it redraws the map of their connection. Maybe a truth buried so deep in her past rises suddenly, reshaping Alil Ibrahim's entire understanding of who she is. Or perhaps it's not words at all. Maybe it's an impulsive act, born of courage or desperation, the kind of impulse that sets fate on a new course. Turkish series excel at these crescendos, at weaving threads of longing and revenge, protection and sacrifice, until everything converges in a single, shattering instant. And here, the surprise she hurls at Alil Ibrahim marks one of those unforgettable, time-stopping moments etched into the collective memory of the audience. Now let's step closer. Think of the inherent dynamics at play: love that bruises, revenge that tempts, an instinct to shield the other even at personal cost. Perhaps Esla chooses a drastic, solitary solution to guard Alil Ibrahim from an imminent threat. Or perhaps she chooses brutal honesty, yanking back a curtain that Alil Ibrahim never imagined existed. Love as a shield, truth as a blade, either can cut, either can heal, either can change everything. Imagine the scene as though time itself narrows to a point. They are alone. Words begin carefully, then faster, then sharper. Their eyes lock, carrying 1,000 unsent messages. A heartbeat thunders. Then, without fanfare, the bomb drops. Alil Ibrahim freezes, pupils widening, jaw tight, breath snagged mid-chest, as if the universe just switched languages and left him scrambling for meaning. The silence that follows isn't empty. It is a roar. And we, watching alongside, feel the tremor move through us too. Body language tells the story before the voice dares. The glitter in Slaw's eyes holds, unwavering. Her shoulders set with a calm determination that doesn't waver. She refuses to look away. His reaction unfurls in the micro-movements, the blink that doesn't come, the fingers that don't quite curl into a fist, the pulse that jumps at his neck. It is pure vulnerability, caught and held under a spotlight. And what comes next? That is the question that keeps us returning. In the aftermath of such a shock, paths rarely remain unchanged. Will this draw them closer, binding them with scar tissue that, strangely, makes them stronger? Or is this the fissure that finally opens into a ravine? Is it the turning point that redefines everything or just another brutal test to endure together? Moments of crisis are mirrors. They show us what feelings are made of and what characters are capable of when the masks fall away. This is where Barry's Arctic and Elçin Sengu prove why their partnership is a phenomenon. He channels Alal Ibrahim's silence with the kind of control that makes you lean in, searching for the quiver beneath the armor. She radiates Esla's resolve and fragility in the same breath. Together, they make the intangible frighteningly real. You can almost feel the room around them. You can almost hear the clock stop. Their off-screen rapport becomes the spark that lights the on-screen explosion, and everyone can sense it, crew members holding their breath, whispers spreading between takes, a director choosing to linger a second longer on their eyes because that's where the truth lives. We know how this works, don't we? A moment like this spreads like wildfire. Edits appear online in hours. Clips are replayed, slowed, dissected frame by frame. Fans argue about what it meant in every corner of the internet. Some say it's love disguised as fury. Some say it's fury born from love. And right in the middle of the storm, Turkish Spotlight Secrets is here to make sense of the chaos with you, to let the speculation and the thrill feed into something electric. If we were cutting this sequence for you now, we'd pull the threads tight. We'd roll the scenes that built to this, a missed call at the worst time, a glance that lasted 1 second too long, a promise made in a whisper. We'd let the soundtrack swell slowly, something low and aching, then push into the key instant with a breathless quiet. We'd hang on Alal Ibrahim's frozen face, count the beats, then let the world rush back in. The effect would be inescapable. And we'd amplify it with your voices, because fan reactions are the rhythm of moments like these. The shock, the tears, the theories, this is how a scene becomes a phenomenon. Let's not pretend this is only about a plot twist. This is about how stories latch onto the parts of us that remember every time we faced a truth we weren't ready for. This is about how a single moment collapses distance between screen and living room. That's the magic Barış and Elçin summon when they step into characters like these. They make us ache for resolution even as we fear what it will cost. So what do you think the exact surprise was? A confession from SL that only the bravest would dare? A choice Sly made that can't be undone? A revelation that forces Lily Brain into the light, a truth that reframes every look, every line, every pause we've seen? Or is it something quieter, an ultimate sacrifice that only reveals itself fully in the stunned quiet of Alal Ibrahim's reaction? The beauty of this moment is how many answers fit until the next scene demands one. There's also the delicate art of restraint. Notice how Esla doesn't plead. How Sla stands her ground. How Turkalu, the force behind this narrative, lets the camera stay close enough to catch a breath tremble, but not so close as to explain it away. Notice how Slater Kahlo holds the silence, using it as a weapon, as a shield, as a confession all its own. And there, rooted to the spot, is Alal Ibrahim, the immovable object finally meeting the unstoppable truth. The implications are enormous. For their relationship, yes, but also for the entire web around them. Allies reconsider allegiances. Enemies smell new openings. Every choice from here on carries a heavier price. And yet, if there's one thing we've learned watching Barış and Elçin craft characters like these, it's that they can carry that price in a way that feels human. They don't just show the storm. They show the cost of surviving it. We could talk for hours about how they do it, the way he lets silence say what words would spoil, the way she threads steel through softness until you can't find the seam. Set insiders talk about rehearsal rooms so focused you could hear a page turn. They talk about a first take that made everyone on set go still, then a second take that left them blinking back tears. When a scene has that kind of energy, you feel it even through a screen. And yes, the title says it all, Slaturkalu surprises Alal Ibrahim. He is speechless. That is the promise. But the delivery is what sets it apart. It's not just the jolt. It's the way it resonates. The way it echoes into the next episode and the one after. The way it lingers in your chest. That's why we're here, to hold that echo up to the light and ask what it shows us. Tonight, we traced the fault lines that led to the break. We honored the ferocity of Esla's choice and the shudder of Alal Ibrahim's silence. We felt the pulse of Slice's determination, the tenderness hidden inside Esla's confession, the unwavering gaze of Sla as she refuses to flinch. We recognized how Turkalu builds an entire storm cloud out of glances, then lets it rupture exactly when we can no longer stand the waiting. So now, it's your turn. Tell us what your heart screamed in that frozen second. Did you feel the same shock as Lil Ibrahim? Were you terrified of what it meant or relieved that the truth finally tore free? What do you believe the surprise really was? And how will it reshape the tangled fate of Sla and Lily Brain? We want your boldest theories, your softest confessions, your sharpest insights. Turkish Spotlight Secrets has always been a conversation, not a monologue. You make these moments brighter. If you felt that electric tingle, if you caught yourself holding your breath, if you saw in their eyes a truth you've lived in your own way, don't leave without showing some love. Drop a like. Share this with a friend who can't stop thinking about that scene. And if you haven't already, join our family by subscribing to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Turn on notifications so you're the first to dive into our next analysis, our next theory, our next well of emotion. We've unraveled the moment when Slater Kala does the unthinkable and Alal Ibrahim forgets how to speak. We've traced the road that carried them there, and the uncertain horizon that opens before them. We've applauded the artistry of Barış Arduç and Elçin Sengu, whose performances make these fictional pulses feel frighteningly real. And we've reminded ourselves why we keep coming back, because these stories, at their best, help us face our own silences and our own surprises. Thank you for staying with us until the very last heartbeat. We'll be back very soon with more heat, more heart, and more of the scenes you can't stop replaying. Until then, protect your joy, brace for the next twist, and keep your eyes on the spark in Esla's gaze and the quake beneath Alal Ibrahim's calm. This was Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and the drama is just getting started.